Hello, I'm Ania Lichtarowicz, and this is Somewhere on Earth, your weekly look at technology and its impact on our everyday lives. It is Tuesday, the 25th of August, 2026. Welcome to the Global Tech Podcast. And we've just been placed in the top 40 of technology and society podcasts to listen to in 2026 by FeedSpot. Thank you to all of you for your continued support, especially to those who pay for the Pod Extra version of the show. Coming up today. What if your electric car could help power your home and even support the electricity grid? That's the idea behind Everything to Grid Energy, one of the World Economic Forum's top 10 emerging technologies of 2026. I speak to Professor ZhaoYang Dong about how our cars, homes and batteries and other devices could become active parts of the energy system. And from energy to food. I'm at Web Summit Brazil, where one startup is asking a rather different question. What can you do with a broken bean? Bean Possible is turning beans that might otherwise go to waste into protein, fibre and starch that can be used in products from bread and biscuits to sauces and yoghurt. I meet CEO Gabrielle Gautério to find out how. This is Somewhere on Earth, where tech meets humanity. Imagine your electric car isn't just something you drive, but a battery helping power your home or even the electricity grid. That's the idea behind Everything to Grid Energy, connecting electric vehicles, home batteries, solar panels, buildings and other devices so they can intelligently store, use and when needed return electricity to the grid. It's becoming increasingly important as we electrify transport and heating and rely more heavily on renewable energy. Solar and wind don't produce electricity on demand, so we need new ways of balancing supply and demand. The World Economic Forum has named Everything to Grid Energy as one of its top 10 emerging technologies of 2026 in a report published in June in collaboration with Frontiers. It points to a network of more than 16,000 solar-equipped homes in California that supplied 51 megawatts back to the grid during an evening peak in 2024. So could my electric car, or yours, become part of the power station of the future? I spoke to Professor ZhaoYang Dong, one of the experts behind the WEF report, to find out how Everything to Grid Energy could transform the way we generate, store and use electricity. He tells me more about how my electric car can help.
Sure. Well, there are different states. Most simple ways when your electric car is connected to the grid, it start charging, or is waiting for instruction to start charging, or is waiting for instruction to start discharging. And when the car is actually participating into the vehicle grid control, and when the instruction comes, your car could actually deliver electricity to the grid as a distributed energy source rather than a simple battery being charged. So that's the different situations here.
Okay, so quite a clever system, but is it clever enough to leave enough charge in my car so when I get up in the morning, say, I can still drive to work?
Yes, the whole purpose for the electric vehicle, the primary role is to support the driver's needs. So we must ensure that there is sufficient electricity, sufficient battery charging status when the time when you need it. So there are different optimization and decision-making algorithms associated with V2G to ensure that you have a sufficient charge, and at the same time, whenever possible, if the owner agrees, can support the grid operation.
And who decides this? Is it the electricity company, an AI system that's working behind the scenes, the homeowner, can I switch it on and off? Or is it everyone?
In the general sense, can be everyone, because you need the environment from the grid to send a signal, need support. But in most of the power systems or electricity markets, that should be something to do with retailer or aggregator. So as EV owner, you sign up to an aggregator or retailer to become a prosumer, then you will be able to participate in this V2G scheme and get paid when you actually discharge or support the grid.
Okay, so I was going to ask that question, will I actually get paid for what I give back? And the answer seems to be yes. So, that's another positive thing about the system. But it's not only electric cars, is it? There are other things that could also be used.
Yes, exactly. Like in the general idea, what we call a virtual power plant, um, there are different appliances which have the potential to participate into demand response. For example, your pool pumps, your heaters, and maybe washing machines. By choosing different time of usage, you're actually supporting or avoiding creating an artificial peak in the demand. So these resources actually can be doing similar thing like V2G, except that they are by not using the energy as if they were supporting that equivalent energy to support the grid operations.
So can you explain that a little bit more? Is that just, making sure that people change their behavior and use, say their washing machine at a different time or their dishwasher overnight or something? There must be more to this than that. Can you explain how these different devices would work in this whole virtual power station
Yeah,
scenario?
sure. Firstly, depending on the market rules, uh, in a competitive market like a well-established market, if the homeowner agrees to participate, then he or she may be paid by participating into, for example, spot market. There are evening peak hours to be paid by this, or even if the retailer has an aggregator function to participate into ancillary services market, can be even paid extra. For example, when there's a big incident in the power grid, then the operator may need some reactive power or other support, then they will pay a higher price to the service provider. So it depends on the market rules.
So I'm trying to imagine, what the energy system around us would look like, say, in 10 years' time, if this all works. Could you give me a real world example of what it might look like on an ordinary street?
Well, take an average city, for example. What will happen uh, is that there will be more things like microgrids if in the remote areas. Instead of building the main power grid, maybe they are local generators, local resources to supply locally. So like a small power grid running mostly by itself with main grid support. That's one thing, which is already happening in some rural areas, like in Australia, in US. And number two is that there will be more active participation from the demand side, like the V2G, with more electric vehicles coming here, and many of the chargers actually having V2G functionalities is increasingly there. So we'll see more vehicle to grid participation, and also we'll see more battery energy storage. Or if in 10 years' time, there will be breakthroughs in the technology like hydrogen. So it could be even cleaner longer term, mid long term energy storage to support the grid operations. And at the same time, another very important aspect is AI load, like AI data center or people using AI, or there will be different power plants or network to support the AI operators being either like a microgrid or a grid supported AI data center. And we may also say the emergence of more AC DC mixed grid, or maybe even some local areas on DC grid to just maximize or optimize the resources and demand for in different forms of electricity supply. These are some of them. Of course, we'll see more of the market opportunities coming up as well.
Energy demands, our electricity demands are growing, especially as people bring in AI into their everyday lives. There's no denying that. So we are going to need to have more energy. But is this a way of solving a big problem that we have currently with renewable energy, that the sun doesn't always shine, the wind doesn't always blow enough when we need electricity?
Yeah, great question. No, they are not the primary solver, but we can smooth and use the AI data center as a resource, similar to what we use like V2G uh, options. Instead of creating extra burden, actually we minimize the impact of AI data center and use it as a resource to a certain extent to support hosting more renewables. Because in the power system, to ensure operation on the physics, right? The balance of energy from demand to supply or from generation to load is a founding principle of the power grid. Energy storage, physical or virtual, these are the critical resources to support the more renewables to the grid. Than through virtual power plant options or V2G or whatever optimization for the AI data centers, we are creating a virtual storage resource to support the operation of the grid with more renewables.
Let's talk about the technology advances that have allowed this to happen and allowed your research to advance. I mean, we're talking battery chemistry changes, power electronics. Can you explain a little bit of what's improving to allow us to do this?
The battery technologies from the electrochemical perspective has been progressing very rapidly over the past years. The price of lithium-ion batteries has been reducing, even though the price of the ore, lithium-ion ore has been increasing. So the technology is more advanced. The batteries can support more charging, can enable very fast charge. For example, some of the EV can be charged in 10 minutes to reach over 70%. This is one thing from the battery side. And at the same time, the lithium-ion battery, there are new battery materials coming up which are more safer, like the batteries, solid state batteries coming up, which are no longer even you shoot those batteries, they won't catch fire. But these technologies are gradually being deployed, and also there are technologies like flow batteries, which may support larger scale, longer term energy storage needs, and it's getting more and more stable in performance. Then with hydrogen, this is the ultimate. If ideally we have cheaper solutions for storage, for transportation, then they can be ultimately very clean for longer term, short term, long term energy storage. But at the same time, right at this stage, we see the combination of technologies. For example, we may have lithium-ion batteries combined with some supercapacitors for very fast response, and combined, for example, with hydrogen or with flow batteries for longer term storage to meet all the different needs.
We'll have more from Professor Dong from the City University in Hong Kong on the pod extra version of the show. What do you do with a broken bean? In Brazil, where beans are a staple food and the country is one of the world's major bean producers, broken beans are generated during processing and can end up as a waste product. But Brazilian startup Bean Possible has found a way to give those beans a second life. At Web Summit Brazil, I met CEO Gabrielle Gautério, who showed me how the company uses its technology to turn broken beans into 3 functional food ingredients: protein, starch and fibre. Those ingredients can then be used in everything from bread and biscuits to sauces and yoghurt, while the protein can help food manufacturers create products with more affordable plant-based protein. The company says its technology can use around 80 to 85% of the original bean, extracting the different ingredients in a single process. Bean Possible is currently focused on selling those ingredients to food manufacturers, with plans eventually to develop products for consumers too. So, could something as simple as a broken bean become part of a more sustainable and potentially cheaper food system? I went to the Bean Possible stand to find out how you turn something that might otherwise be thrown away into ingredients for the food we eat every day.
Okay, my name is Gabrielle Gautério and I'm CEO at Bean Possible.
Being Possible. This is a startup at Web Summit Brazil. And tell me what you do.
We transform broken beans into functional ingredients for food formulation. So we developed a technology to transform broken beans into protein, fiber and starch that you can use to produce several products like bakery products, beverages, meat, yogurt, sauce, everything else.
So here at your stand I can see lots of things, and the first thing I see is a petri dish with broken beans. Now Brazil is one of the largest producers of beans worldwide. They are eaten frequently here, but they are also used in other things as well, yes? So they are broken up and used to make protein, is that right?
Yeah, broken beans is generated during bean processing, and we upcycle this type of broken beans to create new ingredients. So one of the ingredients that we produce is like a protein concentrate. It's up to 50% of protein, and you can use to enhance protein in several type of products. And the other products that we can produce by our technology, it's the starch. It have the properties like a native starch that we already know. And the last one is the bean fiber. So bean fiber is composed by up to 50% of fiber and 20% of protein. And you can use it in products that we use like a flour in the formulation. So we have a lot of applications that we can use these three ingredients. And it's a way to upcycle this type of beans that are not full used in Brazil.
The broken beans are at the moment a waste product, but you've taken them and you've transformed them into these three food additives, and basically you can make lots of things out of this, can't you? I've seen pictures of bread, I've seen sauces as you mentioned, I've seen yoghurt. So talk me through these packets that you have here on your stand.
It's some of the examples that we can use our ingredients in instantaneous formulas, like here we have tomato sauce that we use bean starch to formulate it. We also have protein flour that we can use to prepare breads and several types of cookies. It's to use for bakery products.
And also it's going to be higher in protein as well.
It has high protein, and all the formulations, all the ingredients that we combine with our protein, it's gluten-free. So it's a flour that you can use to produce gluten-free products.
And also by having protein, it means people don't have to spend so much money on expensive food like meat, for instance.
Yeah, you can prepare some products at home and enhance our diet for other source of protein, not just only meat, but other alternatives more cheap to prepare.
It's saving individuals money, you're getting rid of a waste product, it's better for the environment, and it's potentially cheaper for people. Now this little packet here, it's a white powder, and I really like the sound of this. So tell me what you've got in this, and then I'll tell our listeners what you make from it.
To prepare this, we use a combination of cassava and our bean starch to formulate instantaneous. I forgot the word.
So it's instant cassava mash. So you can buy these products to make like instant mashed potato, and you're making instant cassava that is very good for people.
Exactly, and you can use for several dishes, to prepare several dishes and combine with other type of I don't know, maybe a meat or other type of foods in the same dish.
And is your main market individuals, so people like me who might go to the supermarket and think, I really cannot be bothered to peel potatoes today, let's have some instant cassava mix, or is it the food industry?
Our solution is focused on food industry because, especially in Brazil, we discovered that a lot of food industry import food ingredients, especially protein ingredients, and it costs a lot to formulate products. So at first time we are focused on food industry to sell these ingredients for food industry, but we intend to have our own products for B2C, for example. But it's not in practice right now. In the first moment, we are focused on B2B market.
So you're still developing that customer side, but you're selling to business. And how big are you at the moment?
We are an early stage startup. We are scale our technology. So we developed the technology. We got the prototypes of our ingredients. We studied the functionalities of our ingredients and applied it in several food formulations. Now we are scaling our technology together with partners to validate some operational parameters and to prepare our ingredients to sell for industry.
Can you tell me about the technology?
We developed a process that in one step we can obtain the 3 ingredients using the same raw material. So we use like 85% of the raw material. We transform it in food ingredients, and then we combine some steps like water extraction with other types mechanical separation. So we use this both technology to establish a mono-way process.
That is all we have for you in the ad-filled main programme. But if you would like to go ad-free and get even more soap, you can. For just $10 a month, you can have an extended ad-free version of the programme. Please type into your search engines pod.fan, Somewhere on Earth, the Global Tech Podcast. And if you can't subscribe, then please leave us a rating on your podcasting platform. This really helps our visibility. Thank you to everyone who has done this so far. It's really making a difference. I'm Ania Lichtarowicz, and this is Somewhere on Earth, the Global Tech Podcast. Until next week, bye-bye.